my experience, customers that use E verify their design more efficiently and faster and get better quality than using any other language. My name is Blech. I'm owner and CTO for MOBC Consulting. I've been using Specman since almost when it started with Vericity, I think 15 or 20 years. My latest project using Specman was for a security company doing ASICs that combine a SOC and a lot of proprietary blocks that integrate with it. I think E is the best approach for verifying a design. Actually, there's a lot of features that make it the best, but the one that I mostly like is the ability to move from interpreted language to a very fast and compiled language. Having the advantage of speed via the ability to do a very efficient debug on the things that you verify. Implementing a verification component takes time and it is subjective to the complexity of the component. But from my experience, I can say that implementing verification components in E is much easier and faster than any other language. The reason for that is that E is very accustomed for changes and flexible in terms of development. Therefore, you can develop a component in stages to start with what you need and to add features as you go by. My experience shows that verifying with E usually produces a Rev A production ASICs. And this is done usually under very rigorous time constraint. Something that I encountered in different languages, that you might be able to finish the project in time, but the quality of the verification will not be the same for the same amount of resources spent. There are actually a lot of features that I like about E, but the most prominent one is probably aspect-oriented programming. The language is aspect-oriented. This is VS object-oriented. Many people say object-oriented languages are sufficient for verification. I actually disagree with this. You can do with object-oriented language, but you're doing verification. You're doing it in parallel to developing the design. That means that your verification needs change as you go. Object-oriented languages, to support that flexibility, require different patterns. Either it's a factory pattern, it's a callback pattern that allows you to change your environment as you go. But they are not as efficient as the aspect-oriented capability of E. Okay, whenever a customer asks me what should I do, should I use E or should I use System Verilog or any other language? My answer is usually that it depends on what you're doing. But I can say that in most cases, customers who choose E probably saved resources and received a better quality product at the end. This is again due to the features that are incorporated into the language. The ability to be flexible, to patch and extend your program as you go, to collect coverage in an efficient way, to do an efficient debug, something that is important. We spend about 50% of our time debugging things, either it's an environment or the design. E allows all that in a very efficient manner. I would say half the time that you spend in a different language.